Okay, I believe we are live. So, hello everybody, and welcome to another Sensory Lifestyle Live. Excited to be here and talk to you guys. And today I wanted to spend some time talking to you about some fine motor strengthening activities. And what I wanted to talk about, I guess, is doing fine motor activities not with like commercially bought objects, but or toys, sorry, but like just random things that you can find around the house. So today I will go through 10 different things that I went around the house and picked up and show you how you can use those things to strengthen your child's fine motor skills. Now, for those of you who may not be completely familiar with what are fine motor skills is your ability to use your hands to kind of manipulate and control the things that are in your hands. It is used every day in everything that we do, right? So, for example, in dressing, you would um, you would use it, to kind of do up the buttons, the zippers, doing up the shoelaces. When we're talking about, let's say, eating um, and feeding, it's all about kind of manipulating that food. It's about kind of manipulating and using those utensils, opening and closing containers or any other packets. And of course, in the school setting, the fine motor skills are used, to do any of the crafts things, to do cutting, and of course, to be able to control that pencil, to be able to then neatly write. So fine motor skills are very important. Okay, so let's look at some of the things that I picked. The first thing that I picked is aluminium foil. Um, and one of the things that you can do with it is you can look at tearing it. So this is great for kind of the manipulation as well as strengthening of your hands. So when they are tearing, things that you want to look out for, they're not just grabbing it and ripping it. You want them to use those pinching fingers, right? Pinching, pinching, rip, okay? And then again, keep going and rip. Now, by the way, when I'm talking about different ideas about how you can use it, if you think of something else, please share it. Post a comment here so that everybody who's watching it now or later is going to be able to kind of get extra ideas. Then, once you have the ripped aluminium foil, it's all about crumbling. You can use two hands to crumble, right? You can use one hand, and the goal is to try to make a small ball as possible. You can use the one hand, and then, here we go, and then use the other hand. So dominant and non-dominant hands are great. And then once they get really good hang of just doing the hands, you can definitely look at using these fingers, right? So you're kind of grading it. And so you can use the fingers of both hands, or even more harder is to use the one hand. So again, using the two big, hands, more gross, and then slowly kind of grading it up and making it more challenging. Now, once you have these balls, you can still do a lot with them, right? You can drop it into, let's say, into plastic bottles. You can drop it inside. You can blow. So blowing it, and that's a kind of a bit of a bonus. Any kind of blowing activities that you do work at strengthening the diaphragm. And diaphragm is extremely important part of trying to strengthen the core. So you can definitely do that. And you can create different pathways where you can you can kind of blow it in whatever direction. You can use like toilet paper rolls and kind of blowing it through when it's kind of put on the what's it called, uh, on the floor. You can also with oh yes, and another thing that you can do with these balls is flicking, right? So again, kind of getting, I mean, the motion of flicking is quite tricky as well. So flick. And you can do little goals, like you can have, you can play flicking soccer, or where they have to try to flick, or have to see, if they can have a bit of a competition who's able to flick it even further. So those are kind of fun things you can do with that. Now, aluminium foil can also be used to kind of draw or practice, letters. So you can, and I'm doing it like this, right? So you can, the child basically gets a different sensation, and the more senses that we use for all these pre-writing shapes and letters, the better they remember. But okay, so this is aluminium foil. The next thing is elastic band. And there's, of course, different types of elastic bands. Some are bigger, some are smaller, some are thicker, some are thinner. So they all provide different types of resistance. Now, so it's all, anytime you provide any resistance to the fingers, it's all about kind of getting the strengthening of the fingers. So, for the little ones, they can get the elastic bands and use 2 hands to stretch out. Then the next level up is putting it on 1 hand and then stretching it out. Of course, the thicker they get, the elastic bands, and smaller, the harder it's going to be. So you kind of want to experiment and practice, because you want your kids to be successful, but you want them to be working as well. And then you can go for the individual fingers. Now, this one's a little bit too big, so I'm just going to flick it on twice. So there you go, opening and closing. And you can definitely go for different ones. You can, again, you can use the bottles and kind of put it on top. So look at this. One hand needs to stabilize. The other one's working really hard. So that's also like bilateral coordination, needing to use 2 hands, which is also super important when you're writing, right? And you can do similar things, just placing it on those paper rolls, right? Trying to go one and the other one. So you see, I'm stretching, I'm opening and putting it on. It's actually much trickier than you would think. So it'll definitely give your child a bit of a challenge. So the next thing is kind of the empty paper rolls. And I know online there's so many different ideas of what you can create from toilet paper roll, empty toilet paper roll, or a towel, paper towel one. But I'm going to give you a few different ideas. So the first thing that you can do is play finger tag of war. So this is just the longer one that I'm using, but basically pinching fingers go in, and then another person's pinching fingers go in, and then you try to play a bit of tug of war. And then the next finger, right? Then the next finger. You practice, and every single finger. So great for strengthening. You can definitely get scissors and do some cutting. So cardboard provides some resistance, so it's a little bit, they need to use a little bit more force. But also, cutting teaches you how to separate that hand, which is all great. So, different ways to cut and create whatever you want with it. I mean, if you cut into rings and can be threaded through and made to a necklace, you can definitely, decorate these paper towels with stickers or markers or anything like that. You can do, silly, silly kind of creatures or funny people. So you have a face, and then you can pretend that, what you have cut here, that is hair. So then you can give, they can give them a, whoops, sorry, I keep going different angles. Give them like different haircuts, right? Making it a little bit shorter. You can, if you cut like these little snippets all around. Another thing that you can do if you don't want to do haircuts, you can basically, you've probably seen this around, you can flick it back, and if you have it all the way around, you can do some stamping as well. Again, oral motor stuff as well to strengthen that diaphragm, that strengthens the core, so a little bit of a bonus, not a fine motor thing, but kind of putting it and trying to blow it. And you can set a few of them, so you can maybe do like a bowling game, but just with the paper toilet rolls and then just the mouth. Or you can use your fingers, right, and then try to flick them over. What else? We spoke about kind of putting the elastic bands on it, the stamping, the air blowing. You can also make little construction things. So here's an example of, you can kind of stack them and create different designs. So what I've done is I just grabbed, a small ring, and you basically cut 4 slots on the opposite side from each other, right? So you have like this, 4 different slots. So, and then you can keep adding, keep stacking. You basically, look for the slot. So again, manipulation, right? So some cutting practice, manipulation, and there you go. And you can have more bottom ones, whatever the kids want. They can decorate it, draw funny faces on it. So lots of great kind of fine motor stuff that can be done there. Okay, next, coins. Coins is another thing that you can find at home. So what can we do with coins to help with the fine motor skills? So imagine this is a table. You basically place your coins and however you want. This is just an example. I have some coins. Ta-da! And what you can do is then have a race or just a practice, whatever it is. Then they have to flip it. You see this? Oh, sorry, I'll make sure you guys see it. So, and then, of course, see if they can improve it. But to flip it, you need to use the pincer grasp. Pincer grasp is used when you need to kind of grab that pencil. You need to have that good, strong pincer grasp. But also, for those buttons and zippers, pincer grasp allows you to have more of that accuracy, right? So you can do that. Then what you can do is you can use the coins to drop it into something. So they would have to, let me see. So let's say you have, toilet paper roll, you have the coin, you have to pick it up and then drop it in. Another way that you can do it, if they master this quite well and are good at using their pincer grasp, then you give them few coins in one hand. Whoa, it's always so tricky here. So you have few coins in one hand. What they want to do is kind of practice what's called in-hand manipulation with a coin. You basically move it from your palm to your pinching fingers, and then you can drop it in. Then get the next one, move it over, and then drop it in. This is very tricky for kids, but very important skill. So definitely practice it, and you want to practice it with both hands, both dominant and non-dominant. Another thing that you can do is, kind of get them to put the hand out, which is also great for that shoulder strengthening if you're maintaining that position. So a lot of things you see, they have lots of double things. And then, they can decorate their hands. How many coins can they put without them falling over? So obviously, sorry, a little bit hard doing it sideways. And, they can go anywhere on their hand, right? Make some kind of a design. Hopefully you can see. Yeah, okay, so these is the coins. Now, the next thing is straws. So there's a lot of different straws out there. There's thick ones, there's the thin ones, and you can certainly get these and cut. Again, it's going to flick over, but so you can cut. You can cut small pieces, little pieces, the bigger pieces, and there's a lot of things that you can do with these. So I would definitely not don't waste them. They can be used in Play-Doh to create different creatures, make candles, and like in a birthday cake. As I said, you can thread them, create necklaces, um, and you can drop them into things. So kind of the plastic bottles and dropping them in as well. Um, yeah, so that's kind of straws. And other things that you can do if you had those kind of rings, right, as well, you can get the straw in your mouth and then kind of thread these through. So it's really working at kind of that eye-hand coordination, but also looks at strengthening that convergence. So kind of the eye skill. So a double benefit, and the convergence is used in like reading and writing, any kind of near vision work. So again, double benefit, but this is kind of what it looks like. There we go. Um, Anything else with straws? No, I think that's it. Now, plastic bottle is another thing that you might be able to find around your house, and just opening and closing this these bottles provides resistance, which is strengthening. You can open it up and put things in it. You can put these straw pieces in it. You can put um, kind of those smaller aluminium balls, which kind of now went flying. Oh no, this one fits through as well. You can create different shakers with it, right? Where they adding some musical instruments. You can put water in it, and making it heavy and carrying it around is also going to look at strengthening the hand. So maybe they need to water the plants by filling in bottles and then carrying it, screwing it, unscrewing it. So they have a purpose, but also they're working on a lot of those things. Hold on, I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss any of my things. Okay, next one is clothes pegs. So clothes pegs, anytime you actually open, kind of squeeze them, there's a lot of strengthening happening in those fingers. Now, if kids have weak fingers, you'll see them trying to use multiple fingers to kind of squeeze it. The end goal is to try to get them to use this pinching fingers. There's a lot you can do with these. You can play a dress-up game where uh, they can put pegs on your clothes and then take them off, or on their own clothes, so they can kind of some kind of a dress-up party where they want to be an alien, or put like an armor, or as a extra design for a princess dress or something like that. Um, this is also great if you don't have those kind of little commercial bot tongs. You can use these to pick up things, the balls, right, to kind of move them from one spot to the next. Or sometimes if those balls might be a little bit tricky to pick up, but you can get them to make like aluminium foil snakes that they have to go and pick up and transfer somewhere else. Or even trying to see if they can open it and kind of thread it all the way through. But we want to be doing opening and closing, and definitely use both dominant and non-dominant hands as well. Another thing that you could do is, these clothes pegs might be fun. You can get a pencil and get them to decorate on it any squiggles or faces or anything like that. But because the surface is so narrow, they really need to get a good practice of their pencil control, because they really need to use more of those finger movement versus the big gross motor, because it's just so small. So a fun way to do that. Another thing that I think is my kids' favorite are spray bottles. Spray bottles great for this way. Great for hand strengthening. You're squeezing, which actually provides the resistance, right? And great for hand separation between the two sides of the hand, which is important for fine motor skills. and fill it up with water. Again, screwing and unscrewing resistance. Also extra heavy weight when it's full of water, so hence strengthening in that way. And then going outside, spraying plants, spraying grass, spraying spider webs, drawing with chalk on the ground and then erasing it with this. If it gets warm enough, spraying each other with it. Or you can add water and mix it with some water paint, and then spray it on paper, and then you can create some fun designs with that. Okay, so that's that. Next one is tongs. So these are just normal kitchen tongs, and again, kind of separation of that hand, and you can even get water bottles, fill them up, but it's all about transferring things from one thing to the next. So maybe picking it up and putting it in a bucket, or moving it from one space to the next, or having races. That's also quite fun to do. Let me just check. And again, please feel jumping in the moment. If seen any equipment, any object here, and you're like, oh my gosh, what about this? You haven't thought about that. Please write a note. We all constantly learn, so I'm always happy to hear if there's anybody else doing some other stuff. And sponge, normal kitchen sponge. Anytime we wring it out of water, so that's squeezing, again, strengthening it. So, you can have a car wash, right, where they kind of get washed. You can get a doll bath where you get washed. Or you can take it and just make splatters above on the concrete where you're just kind of seeing it. Or, washing windows, washing tables, or washing cars, anything like that. That also is great for that hand strengthening. So I think this was it. I think I gave you all the objects here. I think all the 10 things that I kind of found, and all the wonderful fine motor stuff that you can do. And I guess the purpose of this is I wanted you to open up that it's not necessarily needed to be buying all those loads of toys out there to particularly just strengthen that pincer grasp. You can definitely look around what's in the home and be creative. And with any of these things, I still recommend you not only just guiding your kids in the activities that I suggested, but just giving them these things and see what they're going to do. So they already have toys, but they may have wonderful ways that they can think about using it. So definitely use that strategy as well. So as I said, that's it for me for today. I hope you found this information useful. And if you have any other questions about what you saw today, feel free to message me or write a comment on this live. And if you have any other topics that you would like to hear about, please send me a message. Let me know what you want. I'm here to serve you. So I want to give you the information that you need or you find interesting. Okay, so have a great day, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.